World number one ranked tennis player Novak Djokovic is making headlines, but not necessarily for the right reasons. After months of speculation about his participation in the year's first Grand Slam tournament, the Australian Open, Novak Djokovic announced that he was granted exemption permission by the Australian Open body to participate in the tournament. However, the tennis star's visa to enter Australia was cancelled, with the matter going all the way up to Australian PM Scott Morrison having a say. What happened? What's the controversy? And is the flack Novak Djokovic receives justifiable? Here's what you need to know. First up, how can a medical exemption be granted at the Australian Open? As per Australian Open rules, all participating players and fans in matches of the Australian Open need to be vaccinated. For those who are not vaccinated, an exemption can be given on medical grounds by an independent panel of medical experts, which is what Djokovic claims to have. For those who are not vaccinated, a medical exemption can be granted if a person has inflammatory cardiac illness in the last 3 months, is undergoing major surgery or hospital admission for a serious illness, a COVID-19 diagnosis, which means that a vaccination cannot be made for 6 months, any serious effect to a COVID-19 vaccine in the past, if the vaccine is a risk to the person or others during the vaccination process, and or any underlying developmental or mental health disorders. So what exemption has Djokovic gotten? According to Djokovic's lawyers, Novak was tested positive for COVID on December 16th. Therefore, he cannot be vaccinated against COVID-19 for the next 6 months. The lawyers stated that the date for the first positive COVID test, PCR test, was recorded on December 16th of 2021. This was a bid by the lawyers to get the visa cancellation overturned. Now, Tennis Australia, in its statement released on Jan 4th, stated that Novak will compete at the Australian Open and is on his way to Australia. He applied for a medical exemption, which was granted following a rigorous review process involving 2 separate independent panels of medical experts. So what happened at the airport? Despite getting an exemption to play, border authorities denied Djokovic's entry visa because they failed to meet the country's COVID-19 vaccine requirements when he landed in Melbourne. According to Australia's official government website, if someone holds an eligible visa and is not fully vaccinated, you must apply for and be granted an individual travel exemption. There are different categories for this, but the final consideration is by the Commissioner of the Australia Border Force. So what's next for Djokovic? Now, Novak was kept in immigration detention in a hotel in Melbourne until his court hearing today. Before entering Australia, Djokovic faced fierce criticism from netizens within Australia, where over 90% of adults are at present fully vaccinated. Novak was immediately released from immigration detention in Australia after the court ordered that his visa to enter Australia is valid and that Djokovic will be allowed to play the Australian Open. Tennis Australia has also gotten into a bit of trouble, having been accused of misleading players to think that a recent COVID-19 infection can get players a medical exemption to participate in the tournament. However, the Australian Government's Council has revealed that the immigration minister will consider exercising a personal power to cancel Novak's visa. This means that it's still not guaranteed that Novak will play in the Australian Open. What's now being decided is to cancel Djokovic's visa, which would include Novak being excluded from entering Australia for 3 years. If Novak plays and wins the Australian Open, he will have the most number of Grand Slams of all time. So far, Djokovic has gotten 20 Grand Slams under his belt. This includes 9 wins at the Australian Open. Thanks for watching News 9. Until next time, this is Priyanka signing off. Namaste.